The radio stations of DoorCountyDailyNews.com, as you see at NEW Industries. We're in the business of the industrial park in Sturgeon Bay, and we're here with Dan and Rosina Moore. This is a story that we are so excited to tell as VP of Sales. Thank you for allowing me to walk through the plant. This is a beautiful place, first of all. Congratulations.
Beautiful place, busy place.
Yes. Apply today, right? That's the message?
That's correct, for sure.
Well, also, church family, we're both members of Sturgeon Bay Community Church, and I've learned a lot about you through going to church there. I'm looking forward to telling a different story today, though. There's a jersey lying out on the table here that is an Eagles jersey. Now, we're in Cheesehead territory, so not everybody knows this story, but those that do are talking about it in a big way. What is your relation to Nick Foles?
He is married to our daughter.
Your son-in-law!
Yes.
That's
That's
so
correct.
crazy!
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
There's a story here. You got to share a little bit with me, but it started at Arizona, and I want to hear about your daughter first. She was a 4-year player at Arizona for volleyball?
That's correct.
Yes. She went to school at Arizona for 4 years, played volleyball, all 4. Loved it.
Yep.
I bet.
Met Nick there, and they were just really good friends for the whole time they were at school.
Never dated at Arizona.
They did not
Nope.
date until
He always
after
looked.
she
He always
graduated.
watched over her, though.
Oh.
So that was good.
Yeah.
What a neat story. So I know what her high school career was like. You were traveling from gym to tournament and club volleyball to club
Yes.
volleyball
Yeah,
tournament.
absolutely.
That's a hard sport to play in college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
Good for
Very
her.
competitive. Very.
Okay, so your daughter's name again?
Her name is Victoria, but she goes by Tori.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mom, you said he was being a nice guy. Dad, you always thought maybe there was something going on there. When did the flip switch, or the switch flip, if you will?
After they graduated.
After
from
Tori graduated,
Arizona.
she was a year behind Nick.
Okay.
And they kept in
right.
touch often, and I think he thought he would go see her. She had moved to Beaverton, Oregon to work for Nike.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him telling the story that if he went out there and he had the same feelings for her that he did when they were at school, that he knew it was going to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, we had no idea.
Well,
that
the story
that was going
story is
on.
actually in the media. Nick's told the story about when he first went to Arizona to consider it.
Okay.
Apparently, Tori is one of the first women that he saw there. They were in the gym. She was coming down the stairs or something. And he looked up, and the story was that he looked up and he told his dad later, "That's going to be my wife."
No
right there."
way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That
incredible.
sounds pretty
It's
cool.
like,
We didn't
wow.
know that story either.
I guess that's love at first sight. Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. So, longtime friends. It turned into something after he was in the NFL, though.
Yeah, because he had been drafted, by Philadelphia and had gone to Philadelphia. It was sometime in the preseason, it wasn't during the season, that he was, probably in OTAs or what have you. And Tori, of course, was working for Nike up in Beaverton, Oregon. And I don't know how much they had stayed in touch at that point, but he just called her one weekend and said, "Hey, do you have a problem with me flying out?" And he flew out, and everything went from
Yeah.
there.
Excellent product placement today, by the way, Mom. That's good stuff. You got the Nike
Oh,
apparel on.
yeah. I didn't even think of that
Yeah.
either until I left the house.
Of course.
Well, okay, so they start dating from across the country.
Pretty much so.
Oregon
Yeah.
to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Long distance relationships also standing the test of time. So it certainly talks a lot about their love, their relationship.
Yeah.
What was the next step?
Well, wow, I'm
Trying to remember
gonna have
exactly
to
how
think
things
about
went. Well,
dates.
Tori's illness was a part of what happened from there.
Was that the first summer? I can't remember.
I don't remember for sure.
I think they actually dated a year before she got ill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they did.
Yeah. So Nick went back to Philadelphia for the season, preseason and season, and that would have been probably 2012. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well, 2012 is when he got drafted, so
Yeah,
it would
but
have
that
been
was his
later in
first season
2012. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he played there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then they dated, when like when he was finished with the season, I think they, were able to see each other more, and it was pretty serious. And then I think that she became ill in July of 2013, I believe, and she, we're not really sure how it all happened, but she was tested for Lyme disease eventually, and so she had a lot of issues that can happen from Lyme. So,
Yeah.
for a long time she thought she had a virus. We didn't really know what it was. it got so bad that she had to leave work, which was too bad
That was
because it
hard
was a
on her.
great job
Yeah.
and she really loved it. But she ended up coming back to Door County, I think, in the summer of 2013, like late summer. And then she was kind of with us while she was recovering and trying to get better. And then that was the season that Nick had such a great,
Yeah,
the Hall of Fame thing
yeah.
and all that. And Tori just continued to try to get better, and we knew it was going to be a long process for her to do that. But she did
Yep,
get a lot better.
yep.
And I think that the following spring, which would have been 2014, when Nick was done with football, he could go back out to California, where I think his dad and mom were spending some time as well.
Yeah.
And they got engaged in February of 2014 and then decided to get married in April.
Wow.
They just didn't want to wait.
Yeah, because of football, you just don't have,
Yeah.
you don't have opportunities to plan necessarily. And they didn't want to, have to plan like a year way out ahead of time.
Yeah.
So a good friend of mine out there is a ordained pastor out there and an attorney. Interesting combination. And, anyway.
You couldn't fly Shannon Sutter out there?
Yeah, I know.
That'd been nice.
He actually had married a lot of people right in his office. He's
Wow.
kind of set up for that, so we set that up, and that's what they did. And so they got married on April 9th of 14, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I hope you remember your anniversary date. If you
I
remember
actually,
yours.
I remember
I don't know
the
if I
date,
remember
but
that.
not the year, because it is a long time ago.
That's really good.
We've been married for 30. It'll be 39 years.
Well,
this year.
congratulations.
Yeah, so anyway,
April 4th, 2014.
14. Yeah.
All
April
right.
9th.
April 9th.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Okay, so as a football fan, as a dad of a daughter too, I mean, there's a lot going on here. I mean, this is my baby girl, right? So you're super protective. I get it. What was that process like? I'm not ready to marry my daughter off yet, but give me some tips, give me some pointers. What are you looking for? What check marks did he pass through?
All of them.
That's great.
Yeah. It's Nick is.
Well, his
He-
faith
Yeah.
is the most important thing in his life, and he is just really authentic. He lives that out every day. It's real.
I
He
mean,
made
we've
it.
learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
He
Yeah,
made a
it
comment,
really
I think
is.
it was still live on NBC or whatever, Fox did the game, and on the field, his first thing is, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He wears his faith on his shoulder, and
does.
it's
And
so impressive.
He lives that.
He
I
does.
mean, he lives Scripture. I mean, it's amazing what you can
Yeah.
learn from being around him. It
Wow.
really is.
Yeah.
So
So we knew
That's-
that about him.
yeah.
You kind of see that right away when
Yeah.
you meet him, and we could tell he was a great guy. And then, the whole way that he handled Tori's illness. I mean, maybe there would have been guys that would have just,
Mhm.
not been able to handle it and ended it and moved on, but he didn't. He
Yeah.
was just really, really faithful to her. So that,
I think he was really.
you
in
don't
love
need
with
much
it.
more as a parent.
Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty
sure.
cool.
So
That's
your
pretty cool.
your baby girl marries an NFL quarterback. This is a
Yeah.
dynamic not many parents get to go through. So you become an instant Eagles fan, I would imagine.
Well, we had to. You may not know this, but one of our sons played in the NFL for 5 years.
I didn't know that.
And so she had she has two older brothers, and then one of her brothers played in the NFL for 5 years. Another brother played, believe it or not, professional basketball in Mexico for
No
1 year.
kidding.
Yeah.
So she's been
She's been
around.
around.
He's got like
athletes,
5 more
you know.
videos to shoot with your family. This is crazy.
Yeah, really.
She's been around sports for
So
forever.
she
Yeah.
took it all. She takes it all in stride. She deals with it very, very well. She really does.
So
Yeah.
really quick sidetrack then. Please tell me about your son's career.
Evan was originally he was going back to college. He went to Stanford University. That's where he got his football scholarship and had a very successful career there. But when he was a junior, the first game of the year, they were playing Navy back in Maryland, and Evan had an incredible game. And then the terrible thing happened. He actually dislocated his hip, which they say is probably the single most painful injury a person could probably experience. And so the miraculous part of it was he fully recovered from it. There were not even any bone fragments. It was incredible how well it went back into place when they manually put it back in. But the problem is that the NFL then got scared. He was actually felt to be probably a first-round pick as tight end. He was a tight end, but the NFL became scared because there were some notes on a report or whatever about the hip, and somebody might have seen bone fragments or whatever, even though there was no issue. And so he ended up being an undrafted free agent, picked up by New Orleans. He went to New Orleans camp, the first camp, and I think the head coach, what's his name, Sean Payton, couldn't figure out why they were bringing in another tall tight end. So he immediately cut him right after camp, and then Green Bay, the Packers picked him up, and the Packers had him for the first season. He had a knee bruise in a preseason game up in San Francisco. So the bruise was bad enough they put him on IR for that year because they liked everything they had seen. They wanted to keep him. Then the second season in camp, first day, first 10 minutes, he breaks one of his fingers all the way down into his hand, blocking one of the linemen. Continues with camp and actually did very well in camp, but I think McCarthy met with him and said, I think it's about another year before I really think that you're ready. So they released him.
He changed positions.
And then
that was not easy.
he was a wide receiver in college. So now he's playing tight end in the NFL. So the blocking situation, you have a lot to learn.
Oh yeah.
And so he ends up going. The Browns signed him, the Cleveland Browns, and that was kind of cool because when he went to the Browns, that's when Mangini was the head coach, Holmgren was the president. And the team was actually fairly functional at that point. They actually weren't that bad. Right. And he had Joe Thomas to teach him how to block.
Wow.
Joe's unbelievable. And he actually did well there.
Yeah.
But it became after 2 years or whatever, it became very dysfunctional again. They brought, Pat Shurmur in as the head coach. It was completely dysfunctional. And they started that losing thing, and he eventually got released there and then went to Philadelphia. And actually in Philadelphia, he was there for a very short time and actually played with Nick in Philadelphia briefly. He was a tight end. Nick was a quarterback,
Wow.
of course. But then Evan had started to have back problems, and it became very serious, and they had to have emergency surgery. And he had been in 5 years at that point and finally decided, I'm done with this. So.
The life of an NFL football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a tough life, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into your rooting interests on Sunday, a week from Sunday. We're going to talk a little bit more about some Nick Foles stories and the Door County ties for the Super Bowl starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and his relation to the Moore family here at NEW Industries. We're going to take a quick break. You can see the next video online right now at DoorCountyDailyNews.com.